Hey, what's going on, guys? Aaron and Eric here from Alternative Energy. We wanted to bring you this video today about heating and cooling a garage workshop. Now, the best three ways to heat and cool a garage workshop is adding garage door insulation, insulating your garage attic, and adding a garage mini split. First step, very important, garage door insulation. Aaron?
So garage door insulation is super important because in Arizona specifically, we have a lot of homes that have metal garages. So the metal garage door, when it's 120 degrees outside, man, that can really superheat your garage. Really important to start with that. That's going to be one of the big sources of heat gain in the garage. One of the things that we do differently from any other company is we have a two-step process for insulating a garage door. The first step is we use a 1-inch thick construction grade foam with a radiant barrier on one side that faces out away towards the heat, and then we have the insulation facing the inside. And then we cover that with our SRX double bubble foil to make a nice clean finished look for the door to look like almost like it was created that way. You know, it kind of blends in and you don't even notice that it's insulated anymore.
Absolutely. Garage door insulation is absolutely important, as that's where most of the heat or cool actually comes in or out of your garage. That's why that's absolutely so important.
Definitely.
Here's another clean image.
This is a great finished product right here. You're looking at a door that, you know, you can see the double bubble. You can see how how it looks like a completely finished door, like it came from the factory. And there's a real good close-up right in here that shows like how, the tuck and everything, how it really kind of blends in with the door and fits nicely with the overall look of your house. So even if you have an older garage, a newer garage, and a newer home, even the high-end homes, this will look really clean and you won't really even notice that your garage door is insulated.
Absolutely. And that brings us to our second step, which is adding garage attic insulation.
Now this is really important in Arizona specifically because the sun's in the sky and it's superheating your roof all day long. So your attic above the garage is going to be 130, 140 degrees. So a lot of companies will do the blown insulation, which for a project like this wouldn't cost you very much, but it also isn't going to be as effective as using a heat radiant barrier, something that's deflecting, 99% of that radiant heat. You're creating like a space blanket essentially that's just over that attic, blocking all that heat and trapping all that cool air in the attic or in the garage as well. So those two things combined, with the garage door and the attic, create that contained space of cooling or heating. So you can do either one in your garage, and that just contains the air in there.
Absolutely. And honestly, with those two alone is great, but if you're only doing that, you're basically creating some kind of type of oven effect. You're going to need something to heat or cool that space effectively.
That's
and the garage attic insulation, the door insulation is what's going to seal that in so the area stays comfortable. You're not running that heating or cooling device all the time.
When you think about it in terms of how hot your car gets, you're driving around all day, your car gets 120, 130 degrees, it's metal, and you have insulation in the attic and insulation on your garage door, and now you're pulling your car into that and you're shutting your garage door. And what you're doing without anything to cool your garage is you're trapping all of that heat from your car in your garage. So your garage will actually be hotter if you just insulate these and you're constantly opening and shutting the door and parking a hot car or two hot cars in your garage. So having something to cool that down or to warm that garage up, to use that insulation properly, is definitely the final step in doing a real garage cooling package.
All right, and that brings us to our third step, which is to actually install a heating or cooling mini split unit. That's the only thing that's going to keep that space ultra cool or ultra heated, and while your attic insulation, your door insulation is kind of sealing that in and really giving you that comfort, so you're not going to have to run this mini split heating unit as long as you normally would, say if you had no garage door or no attic insulation.
That's right. And these units, Eric, they're actually high efficiency Japanese units. So what that means is that you're not going to be spending the kind of money as you would for like a central air unit. These units have an inverter technology that allows them to only use a certain amount of their power at any given time. So if you keep your garage at an average temperature of 80 degrees with one of these units, and the temperature outside is only 85 or 90 degrees, it's going to use only 60-70% of the power from the unit to cool that down. So it's actually very good, very energy efficient, a power saving device to begin with. And on top of that, these can cool a space 5 to 1,000 square feet, depending on how large your garage is. You're looking at less than an hour to get something like that cooled down in Arizona, which is really fast. And they also come with Wi-Fi adapters and Wi-Fi thermostats if you want to add that. So that way, when you leave the grocery store, you want to turn that AC on. So when you pull in your garage, you're unloading groceries, you get your house, now it's 80 degrees in your garage instead of 120. So there's so many different things, so many different facets to cooling that garage. And a workshop is really the main thing that we see. So many people are in their garages, they want to do work, they have some kind of workshop, woodworking, metal, whatever it is you're doing in your garage. And in the summertime in Arizona especially, like, people aren't able to do that. They're not able to work in their garage past 11 o'clock in the morning. So this gives you the ability to turn what was an unused space in Arizona into a 600 or 700 square foot addition that is air conditioned and cooled to whatever temperature you want. So really great.
Absolutely. And there are tons of ways that you can heat or cool a garage. You're going to find people saying, hey, buy a fan, a floor fan, and there's all these different ways. But honestly, in Arizona, it gets extremely hot. And if you really want to cool your garage effectively and make it to where you're comfortable working in your garage, this is the only way to do it, guys. We've tried everything else. We tried a ceiling fan, we tried everything, but this is the only way to seal it in, cool the space effectively, and make it stay that way and not use a ton of additional energy to heat or cool that space.
That's right, Eric. And one of the things I want to say, really, that a lot of people do ask about when we go out and we do, our site surveys, is the walls. So the walls is something that a lot of clients will bring up, and they'll say, hey, I think the heat's coming in through my walls. So now that's not really that far-fetched. That we do use thermal imaging cameras. And so we can from time to time scan a wall, and you can see where the builders didn't put insulation in one of the walls, and it happens to be the south or it happens to be the west wall, and there is some heat gain. And so in this picture right here, you see this block wall, and you're like, oh well, there's that's got to be really, really well insulated. Well, this house specifically, this specific block wall wasn't grouted, so there was not concrete going through the wall to make that solid effect. This is just a veneer. So when we clocked this wall, even in summertime, this actual wall was 100 degrees because that heat was coming through. So there's a couple different things you can do for walls. A lot of people want to just cut holes and blow insulation in there. But honestly, doing some kind of UV coating is really the best and most cost-effective option. So you do a UV coating, so it's like a paint that deflects a lot of that heat, and you do it on the outside of the house first. So you start where the sun's hitting the house, you do a couple good coats, like an elastomeric or a high UV reflecting paint or coating. That's going to be the first step. You can do insulating the walls. That does get kind of costly, but doing the paint is something you can do yourself. You can go and buy the product, you can apply it. It's a DIY project, and that will just help if there's any question with your walls to begin with. That will help block that extra heat if you think it's coming through the walls.
Absolutely, guys. And we just wanted to bring you this video today to really show you the best way to cool a garage. Like we said, there's tons of ways to do it, but garage door insulation, garage attic insulation, and garage heating and mini split unit is absolutely the best way to do it.
Hands down.
And we thank you guys for coming through today. We love you guys. We'll see you on our next video. And until then, sayonara.